Hello. Thanks for dropping in. David Bradley here. So this weekend, I've been doing a little gardening and also a little tire changing. On the gardening side of things, I've not done much more. If you've seen what I already did, it was mostly taking geraniums and putting them into pots that I already had and shuffling around the dirt. All of that. So I'm getting that done. I did find I went to No Frills today, and they, I guess, have had enough of what they were selling. So I did get these two other things that were purple, mostly purple, and I think they were $12 each. And I said, yeah, those are pretty. So I have them hanging, and I will water them, and I will tend to them. And I don't know what flowers are in there. They're mostly purple and white and stuff. Anyway, they were selling them off, as people do. And it's only been like 2 weeks since the long weekend. But anyway, they were selling them off for like $4, and they only had 2 left. So I grabbed them. That's a good deal. And as I was walking around in the store, I saw another one sitting on the shelf that I guess somebody had thought they would get, and then either didn't have room and then decided they wouldn't, so they just abandoned it. So I got that too. And I brought them home, and it was raining and raining and raining. So that's why I didn't film any of this, and maybe it's just as well I didn't. Because I had yesterday changed 2 tires on the car, both of the ones on the passenger side. And it all went, well, not perfectly. I had lug nut troubles, and I went to Canadian Tire, ended up with the wrong lug nuts, and that turned into a whole other mess, but that will be another story. So then I said, well, that was kind of, like, I didn't talk to a mechanic. I talked to, as somebody said, there, a guy in a red shirt, and they know nothing, and they're like, you always know when you're in trouble when you're asking for something that's nothing to do with the engine, and they're like, well, what size engine does that car have? In other words, let's look things up and see what I said. It's lug nuts. They were the same wheels, the same everything. Anyway, it's another story. It is. So, I decided that I would attack the rear driver's side wheel. And it has had a notorious low leak, and I said, okay. I mean, they've all got to be changed, but I thought, oh yeah, this would be good. Anyway, the wheel is stuck. I took out the nuts, and the wheel, which is, sometimes it'll be a little bit stuck. Give it a little pull, give it a little kick, give it, whatever. Oh no. This thing is stuck. I've tried all kinds of things. I went online and looked at YouTube things to see. One of the things they suggest is loosen off the nuts a little bit and drive a little bit. Like, not a whole bunch. Like they said, just back and forth in the driveway. I'm thinking what I might do if I try this is to loosen them a little bit and then just back out of the driveway and just quickly down the street, turn around, come back and see what's what. I think. Anyway, I've been out there in the rain, drenched, and you'd think I would feel cooler in the rain, and I do, but oh my golly, I was drenched and sweaty and gross. And I also went into the backyard and got essentially an axe, which is really kind of like a half a sledgehammer. It's a big axe with a flat head on the one end, like a sledgehammer. And I was smacking at that wheel. And now I did call my twin brother, Richard, and he said, well, what you really need to do... Oh, I put some lubricating oil down in between there, hoping that might have some effect. That was a suggested thing. So it's still there, doing whatever it does. It was penetrating oil of some sort. Anyway, he suggested, because I have probably hit this thing with this sledge thing about 100 times, and it's doing nothing. He said, another thing to try with the sledgehammer thing is go out, get lined up, and then hit it. Like I was pretty much picking one spot and smacking it and hoping, it'll snap free. Didn't happen. He's saying I should sort of careful not to hit the car, of course, at like 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock and 12 o'clock and 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And one each time, round and round. He says eventually it will come loose. That's what he says. I was hot and tired and hungry and thirsty. So I came in and I cooked on the grill. Managed to burn things a little bit because I was watching a YouTube video on how to take wheels off and didn't hear the alarm. But anyway, it was still acceptable. It was. So, I don't often edit because editing takes a long time. It does. But what I figure I'm going to do, I think, is perhaps edit. And I have not looked outside, and I'm way too tired to go outside again yet. But eventually, this too shall pass. And I will go in. No, I will go out. Still tired from all of this. I will go out, and I will try, assuming the rain will allow, to set up and show you what I'm up against and what I'm trying and what to do. Now, if it's really, really, really pouring, I just can't do it. I mean, I can put this, gotta use this hand, not this hand. I can put this inside of the car next door, and the microphones will still work, so you'll be able to see me and hear me and stuff. I'm just not sure I can find a good location just so you can see what's happening. There was one shot I wish I'd had. I was working on the I decided, okay, I can't get this one, but I'm going to do the front one on this side. And I wish it hadn't been raining, and I wish I had had a camera such as this set up on the hood of the car, so that as I rose from behind the car in my drenched, sweaty, gross, disgusting state, my head would appear from behind and over top of the hood like, hello. Ugh. Anyway, so 3 out of 4 isn't bad, but this has got to get figured. It does. And, I mean, if it really comes to it, I suppose, if I can't get it off, and if when Richard comes by he can't get it off, he's had much more experience with these things. And I suppose I can take it to my mechanic. It's a bit of a drive, and he's not there today. But actually, I don't even need to change the tire. Although I guess if I took it there, I would say, okay, take that off and put that on. Anyway, I've known this family for like 50 years. I used to deliver the paper to them. And the name is Fred Emsley and Son. They're in Toronto near Dufferin and Finch, but not really right there. They used to be on Avenue Road long ago when there was a section of Avenue Road that had, 4 or 5 different gas stations. I think between Lawrence and Wilson, there might have been 6 or 7 gas stations. And some of them, well, at that point, most of them did service as well. And then, of course, little by little, they turned into self-serve, this and that. And I think now on Avenue Road that I can think of in that whole stretch, I think only 2 survived. There's a Shell station, there's an Esso station. Now, the Esso station years ago was quite something. It was called Gord Ferries, and they would put up flags, and they had everything painted lovely, and it was like the whole end of the block. And going there for gas, well, and there was no different price for there. I don't think there was self-serve. You just went and they took care of it. Now, this is once again going back a long time, because I would suspect that most everybody, well, maybe not everybody that worked there is gone, but a lot of people. But I remember pulling in there, my mother driving, and she'd hand them a $2 bill and say, $2, please. And they would do their thing. And I remember, well, of course, there was a fellow named Gord. And the other funny thing is, there was a fellow there. He was a mechanic. He was the mechanic. And suddenly his name escapes me but I did know it. And he had actually gone to school at the same time and knew my mother. And his name escapes me at this moment. Then there was a fellow named Yui. He worked there for a long time. He would often be the one who, like, they had all these curbs and things and stuff, and they would always be immaculately painted. And usually about once a year, Yui would go out and smack around and get rid of any paint that was not just so, and paint them all. And they would have Canadian flag, provincial flags, all kinds of things. It was an experience to go to Gord Ferries. Now, there's still an Esso station there, but now, and it still is the whole end of the block, but they don't do repairs anymore. And so there's like a convenience store. Probably it's an On the Run. And then there are pumps, well, self-serve. And yeah, that's it. I remember they had a place at the side of Gord Ferries where they would keep the old oil cans and things. And I know that they would drain them and all, but things. So I used to like going in there at times. And I'm not sure why, because I'm not sure what I did with the oil. And there wasn't very much of it. I think maybe I put it in an oil can. That I would get some of the cans and turn them over and drain more. From one into another, into another, into another, into another. And they always had a little Jeep. And it was a little white Jeep, and always said Esso, Gord Ferries. And it would change, like they would, over the many, many decades, it would be replaced, but it was for going and rescuing people who needed a boost or other such sort of emergency home things. I don't think they had a tow truck, but they could push cars with the Jeep. It had a big sort of wooden bumper on the front. But I think generally they did house calls for such things, and they would take care of anything that they could. And generally they could. They were pretty good. I'm still struggling to remember the name of the mechanic. And it's not coming to me. It is not. And it's funny because I could, it's been years, but I could still remember, oh yeah. Anyway. Oh, they all, of course, wore uniforms. And it wasn't like the old things where there'd be like 10 guys who'd race out and clean everything and do it. But they would typically clean all your windows, and if you wanted to check the oil, they would. And they were very good at it. They were. Anyway, I'm tired. I am very tired from the thing. And it's funny, I borrowed this compressor and air wrench, which is a magical, wonderful thing, to put the nuts on and take the nuts off. And it should be all done, except this one wheel won't go. Anyway, I'm suspecting I may do something. I may have mentioned this. I'm not sure. They did say a mechanic's trick. Oh yes, I did. Loosen the nuts a little bit, drive a little bit, and maybe it'll loosen up. So maybe I'll try that first before I get back to the beating of the wheel. But I must say, and like I kicked it and tried to pry and tried to take a lug wrench that has a sharp end and stick it down and through a hole in the wheel into where the two metals are now fused. It should not be, etc., etc., etc. And anyway, it just didn't. Now it's fun. I never did from when I got the sledgehammer because these things, they're not really like these little. Hello, Penny. These little wrenches that I could stick out, or maybe if I could find a great big screwdriver, maybe then I could gently take the sledgehammer because it's good to have something secure that you can hit with. Oh no. Hello, Penny. Yes, I know. How you doing? Maybe I will look in my toolbox for a great big screwdriver. Because I can see where these two metal things collide and where they are very stuck. And maybe if I was able to get a screwdriver, a slotted screwdriver, in there and get a good smack. Maybe not, maybe with just a hammer. Maybe not with the sledge thing, because that can go wrong in so many ways. Yes, I know, it's Penny. Penny! For those that don't know, Penny's a cat. What do you think about that? Penny? Excuse me. Penny, where are you? Are you coming up here? Are you coming up here? Are you coming up here? Yes? No? Oh, okay. Penny's in a chair. Penny's now on a little table. And I'm not sure if maybe she's going to jump from the little table to the big table. I'm not sure. I think she is gathering herself. Nope, she's thinking better of it. She's back to the chair. Back into the seat of the chair. Back onto the arm of the chair. Hello, Penny. How you doing? No, I really don't think you can make that jump. I really don't think so. No, I don't think so. Anyway, of course, everything I was wearing is like drenched and ruined and gross, so I've switched into other stuff. Hi, Penny. I don't think you can make that jump. And, where'd Penny go now? She's vanished. She's a mysterious sort. Anyway, so I will, at some point, get dressed again. And I will go out. And I will see what I can see. But yeah, I think I will visit my toolbox, look for a big screwdriver, maybe a hammer, and just try to get a screwdriver in there. There's other things they talk about, like hitting on the back of the wheel, but I can't really get in there underneath. I mean, it makes sense to be hitting it in the direction you want it to free up. But anyway, I shall ponder what I shall do. Hello, Penny. I shall. And if the weather cooperates, then I will record this greatness. Right, Penny? Right, Penny. And if not, I'll tell you about it. I'm tired. But I must get this done. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. So, stay tuned. Maybe I'll show you some of the flowers as well. Maybe. Anyway, thanks for coming. Do you have any tips on nasty wheel removal, let me know. Thanks. Have a lovely day. Bye for now. No. Other